Live now from Fox, joining us outside courthouse. Good morning to you, Larry. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Good morning.
All right.
It's going to be a long day.
It is going to be a long day. I know you're going to head right inside there after we get off with you, so we're going to try to not take up too much of your time. But let's start with this. We know several people are set to speak today, lawyers, at least one victim. Given that, as you just said, how long can this go on? Is this going to wrap up today?
They're saying it is expected to last the entire day, and they're not even sure it's going to finish. It could continue over till Monday. It really depends upon how long it all takes. The defense has a video they want to show that's probably about 11 minutes in length. But they also have 4 defense lawyers who are expected to speak. And that's going to stretch it out. Also, the prosecution will speak. Oftentimes with these sentencing proceedings, they argue about things you might not expect, like how to calculate the federal sentencing guidelines that judges don't have to follow, but they're supposed to calculate them and then decide how it plays into what the ultimate sentence is. So sometimes I've seen arguments for something like that go on for 3 hours, or they could be arguing over what's the amount of money involved in the crime and how that might factor into the sentencing. You just never know what roads they might go down that might make the sentencing last a lot longer than you expect. I saw that poll that you're conducting. That was interesting because let's keep in mind, first of all, Combs has already spent almost 13 months behind bars. His defense lawyers say that's enough. He shouldn't spend any more time in jail. But the prosecution says he should not spend less than 11 years and 3 months in prison. And the probation department that the judges use as a barometer of how perhaps the evidence should be used as they make their decisions, the probation department is recommending a 12-year prison term. Oftentimes, I find the judges in this courthouse tend to cut it down the middle. If that occurred, it would mean that Combs would probably get a sentence somewhere between 4 to 6 years. But it's impossible to predict. This judge hasn't been particularly lenient since the conviction at trial. Initially, his defense lawyers tried to get him out of prison right away, or out of jail right away. He's in a federal lockup in Brooklyn. They said that because he was exonerated on the 2 most serious charges, sex trafficking and racketeering conspiracy, that because of that, he's only convicted on lesser charges of basically prostitution-related charges. And as a result of that, they say he should be freed now, and that they obeying the jury's verdict would be not sending him to prison more. But prosecutions say his long history of violence and all the bad things he did and the people he harmed means he should spend considerable more time behind bars.
Larry, going off of that, we do know that he's set to be sentenced for violating the Federal Mann Act. And for our viewers, that's an anti-prostitution law with a century-old history. Does that play into the sentencing at all here today? And if so, how?
Well, it's an interesting law. I mean, the defense says it's so outdated, it's ridiculous that he's even, still in jail and that he's, being considered for more years behind bars. But the prosecution says that this law was meant to prevent all the things that come with those prostitution-related crimes, like drugs, which played prominent role in the Combs case. And the prostitution, the abuse of women, which again they say played a big role in the case, and especially in the violence. Combs was on video beating up his now ex-girlfriend Cassie. The longer name is Cassandra. Her nickname is Cassie, and Ventura. She's been very public, even writing a letter to the judge saying he should spend considerable time in jail because his victims are fearful of him, that when he gets out, he'll seek retribution against them. So, prosecution put in 7 letters from many of the I believe 6 of them had testified at the trial, saying these people fear for their lives if he gets out, and they're not buying a letter he wrote to the judge that was submitted last night, in which he says he is a changed man. He says that when he was first locked up in August of last year, he, or actually September of last year, he became very depressed and considered that maybe his life shouldn't even go on. And he has been, his lawyers say, on suicide watch the entire time he's been in jail. But now he says he's full of a positive spirit. He's a changed man. He said he's not doing drugs or alcohol for the first time in 25 years. And he's not going to be the Sean Combs that he was before. And that on that basis alone, he should really be given considerable leniency. So it'll be up to the judge to weigh all these factors and decide what he ultimately decides is the punishment. I will say this, though. Even after he was exonerated on the 2 most serious charges, which one of them carried a mandatory minimum of 15 years behind bars, the others also carried life sentences. So he was visibly happy in court as soon as he was exonerated on those charges. And I think his defense lawyers expected him even to get out that day in early July. But this judge has not been receptive to their arguments that he should have even been freed on bail. And the judge has cited the violence that occurred that he used against his girlfriends, and his ex-girlfriends say that that violence was used to coerce them to have these wild, sexual experiences where male sex workers would be hired to have sex with his then girlfriends, now ex-girlfriends, while he watched and some often filmed the encounters.